It was now a question of whether they could hold on to it. In third were Baldev Chaga and Raju Semi, who would have been ahead of Duncan had it not been for their penalty. They consistently set times amongst the top three, pushing their Subaru to the limit. Kavanagh was too far ahead to contemplate catching, and they set their sights on overtaking Duncan.
We're pushing really hard today, Tim. We're trying quite hard, taking chances in the easies, trying to make them maxes, and it's all about chances. But the roads they let you do that because they're nice and wide. So if you do,
all the schools along the route had been closed for the day, with the children given the treat of watching the cars. The pressure of performing in front of his home crowd was a huge motivation for Phineas Kimathi. George Mwangi calling the notes, they were desperate for a good result. Phineas has years of experience behind him, but little behind the wheel of an N10. And even he was surprised at the pace they were achieving. Being fourth was remarkable.
We're doing our best, but we're being very, very cautious. So because obviously we are under pressure to perform and also get to the finish. So we understand that very well.
Peter Horsey was another who had a lot to live up to, being the only local driver featuring in the WRC. Navigated by Andrew Doig, they were desperate to win, but slipped back when they punctured. The 3 minutes loss put them down in fifth.
Today's stage is beautiful. I mean, a lot of them are very fast, obviously much faster than you find in Europe. But yeah, there are lots of really nice twisty sections, particularly along the T. Fantastic sections, really are.
You know, Peter, we're still waiting for that elusive win.
Yeah, no, I hope hopefully before the end of the year I'll have my new car ready and then we'll have a go with that.
Without a sponsor, but unable to sit at home when they could be rallying, were Asad Anwar and Kashif Sheikh. With their regular car out of action, they dusted down their N10, which had been up for sale. In whatever car they enter, they are always quick, and despite the front diff not working, they were in sixth. Asad and Salim Khan were getting through these stages faster than they planned. They had Ian Duncan behind them, and the thought of the pickup looming in their rear view mirror was enough to turn their rally into a race. Although Duncan was quicker than them on each stage, he never caught them. But they had driven so fast that they found themselves in seventh.
Do you know Ian's behind me? Yeah? So there was a bit of that pressure in the morning. But halfway through when I was cleaning the mirrors to see, then I said, this guy is a waste of time. So I asked him, was I slowing you down? He says, no, I didn't even see your task.
Making a return to rallying after a long break were Raji Barich and Raju Chaga driving an N10 fully branded in the hope of securing the sponsorship for the long term. They were using the rally to settle back into the sport, and 8th was an indication of the threat they will be when they do.
We haven't rallied for a long time. It's a new team. Raju and I have never sat together before. We're just hoping to have a good day, get as much experience as we can, learn each other, do 2-3 rallies like that, and then see where we can place ourselves in the top 10.
After the first loop of the stages, Alistair Kavanagh edged out a comfortable lead of over 2 minutes. The others behind were all so close, making the competition between them still wide open. Back on stage 2, there'd been one bend that had caught out many of the crews. Ian Duncan shows how the bend should have been taken, and with Amo Slatch on the notes, they didn't hesitate passing the road that many would be drawn into. The prize went to Kuram Bhatt and Franco Donadell, who even stopped to take the wrong road. The road was a dead end, and the crowds rushed after them, knowing it would be difficult to turn around. They eventually returned a full 10 minutes later. With the sections inaccessible for the locals to reach, to watch the action they desperately wanted to see, the action was brought to them. In between the loops, the cars were brought into the Nkobu Stadium, where they tackled a 1.2-kilometer stage around the football pitch. The times achieved made little difference to the results, but was more than made up for by the entertainment they gave to the thousands who turned out to watch. It was all about judgment, with the smallest mistake potentially disastrous, as Shazar Anwar and Job Njiru were to find out when they turned early at the goalposts. The only damage was dented pride, and although they recorded the slowest time, they only lost 30 seconds.
Was that driver error?
Yeah, sort of. I misplaced the car, I would say. We were getting in the World Cup spirit, so we decided to play with the goalpost a little bit.
Winning the stage was Peter Horsey and Andrew Doig in a time of 27 seconds. As the cars left service for the second loop of the stages, Carl Tundu and Tim Jessup were lying 12th and set off to see how far up the leaderboard they could get. Out on the stages, they continued to set the benchmark, recovering more and more time on each section. They had no chance of winning, but each move up the leaderboard would give them more championship points. With the sections being a repeat, Alistair Cavan and Gavin Lawrence were more confident that the open public roads were clear and were now fully committed. They improved on their earlier times, extending their lead by another 10 seconds. Ian Duncott and Amo Slach even pushed the Nissan Patrol harder, beating their earlier time by 16 seconds, which was enough to hold on to second. Baldev Chaga and Raju Semi remained in third. With everyone getting quicker, gaining significant time was next to impossible, although they did open up the gap between them and the car behind. Phineas Kimathi and George Mwangi continued to be the crowd's favourite, although in the car it was business as usual. They lost time to Chaga, who was ahead of them, but kept their margin over Horsey behind to remain in fourth. Peter Horsey and Andrew Doig were doing everything they could to recover the time they'd lost, but the pace was now so quick that it was becoming more important to be restrained than take risks. They were still in fifth. Asad Anwar and Kashif Sheikh were unconcerned about where they were placed. They had nothing to prove and were just enjoying taking part. The N10 was behaving, but the route was not a car breaker anyway, and they held station in 6th. With 2 stages remaining and barring any misfortune, Alistair Kavanagh was set to win, with his lead now nearly 2.5 minutes. The top 6 had all retained their positions, and on the current form, the leaderboard was looking final. There were only 3 classics taking part, all Ford Escort RSs, all competing for the Classic Car Cup. Gianluca Schiraldi and Adil Mirza only featured on the opening Spectator stage when they were forced out of the broken prop shaft on stage 2. This left the remaining 2 to battle it out with veteran Ashad Khan navigating for his son Farhaz, who was driving for the first time, given the drive as a birthday present. The more experienced crew were Samit Gelot and Asit Patel, who were the favourites to win the